ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकीम्। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 14, Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. So, after Diti's surrender and Diti's complete faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kaśyapa Muni, he benedicts Diti with a benediction of having a grandson who is as great as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in terms of his yasha. And this is the glorification of Prahlāda. So we'll just recite these verses. Yesterday we had seen text 48, and we'll see text 48 we will recite once again, and then we will see text 49. So we'll recite. Savai Mahabhagavato Mahatma
Bhagavato
Mahanubhavo
Mahatma
Mahatam Mahishtaha
Mahanubhavo Mahatam Mahishtaha
प्रवृद्ध भक्त्या हि अनुभाविताशये
Pravruddha Bhaktya Anubhavitasaye
प्रवेश्य वैकुण्ठमिमं विहास्यति।
Vaikunthamimam
The
Vihasyati.
topmost devotee of the Lord will have expanded intelligence, Mahatma, and expanded influence, Mahanubhav, and will be the greatest of the great souls. Due to the mature devotional service, he will certainly be situated in the transcendental ecstasy and will enter the spiritual sky after quitting this material world. So, this is about, again, the age 5 years old Prahlad is being spoken about. We go text 49. Alam patashiladharo gunakaro
Alam Pataha Sheeladharo Gunakaro
drishta parat drishta परकृध्या व्यथितो दुःखितेषु
Parakrutya Vyatito Dukhesu
अभूतशत्रुर्जगतः शोकहर्ता
Abhuta Shatrur Jagataha Shokaharta
नैदाधिकं तापमिमम् ऊडुराजः
Naigadikam Tapam
Translation.
He will be a virtuously qualified reservoir of all good qualities. He will be jolly and happy in others' happiness, distressed in others' distress, and will have no enemies. He will be a destroyer of the lamentation of all the universes, like the pleasant moon after the summer sun. Purport. Prahlāda Mahārāja, the exemplary devotee of the Lord, had all the good qualities humanly possible. Although he was the emperor of this world, he was not profligate. Beginning from his childhood, he was the reservoir of all good qualities. Without enumerating those qualities, it is said here summarily that he was endowed with all good qualities. That is the sign of a pure devotee. The most important characteristic of a pure devotee is that he is not lampata or licentious. And another quality is that he is always eager to mitigate the miseries of suffering humanity. The most obnoxious misery of a living entity is his forgetfulness of Krishna. A pure devotee, therefore, always tries to evoke everyone's Krishna consciousness. This is the panacea for all miseries. Hare Krishna.
Beautiful words, again glorifying transcendental qualities of Prahlāda Mahārāja. Alampata, virtuous. Sheeladharo, gunakaro. Sheeladharo, extremely qualified. Gunakaro is the reservoir of all good qualities. Prishta, jolly. His name is Prahlād. Very happy personality. Parakridhya, by others' happiness. And Vyethito, dukkhiteshu. He is happy in others' happiness and his distress in others' misery. Abhuta Shatru is the Abhuta Shatru is without any enemies, Ajata Shatru, Jagata Shokaharta, and he is the destroyer of lamentation of all the universe. Naidadhikam Tapam, just like the moon illuminates to remove the distress of the summer, Prahlad will always shine like the moon, removing everybody's distress. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that Prahlāda Mahārāja is the exemplary devotee and having all the good qualities humanly possible. This is the nature of Prahlāda. He is the reservoir of all good qualities. And the most important quality here, Prabhupada says, is he is alampata. And another quality is that very eager to mitigate people's suffering. So people suffer for so many things. But we have seen that story of the lost son in the Jamindar's lost son, right? The greatest suffering a living entity has is the forgetfulness of Krishna consciousness. It is like the fish outside of the water. Fish can be given food outside the water, fish can be given medicine out the water, fish can be given so many, but the greatest service to the fish is simply put inside the water. Similarly, when a devotee revives Krishna consciousness, along with, we are not completely callous about other miseries, but at the same time, in the name of providing help, one should not miss out on providing the greatest help, that is the spiritual help. And Prabhupada says that is evoking everyone's Krishna consciousness. Text 50. Antarbahishchamalabjanetram Svapurusha Ichha Anugrahita Rupam Pautrastava Sri Lalanalalam Drishtya Spurat Kundala Manditananam. Translation?
Translation: Your grandson will be able to see inside and outside the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose wife is the beautiful goddess of fortune. The Lord can assume the form desired by the devotee, and his face is always beautifully decorated with earrings. Purport: It is predicted herewith that the grandson of Diti, Prahlāda Mahārāja, would not only see the personality of Godhead within himself by meditation, but would also be able to see him personally with his eyes. This direct vision is possible only for one who is highly elevated in Krishna consciousness. For the Lord is not possible to see with material eyes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has multifarious eternal forms such as Krishna, Baldeva, Shankarshna, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, Narayana, Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, and Vamana. And the devotee of the Lord knows all those Vishnu forms. A pure devotee becomes attached to one of the eternal forms of the Lord, and the Lord is pleased to appear before him in the form desired. A devotee does not imagine something whimsical about the form of the Lord, nor does he ever think that the Lord is impersonal and can assume a form desired by the non-devotee. The non-devotee has no idea of the form of the Lord, and thus he cannot think of any one of the above-mentioned forms. But whenever a devotee sees the Lord, he sees him in a most beautifully decorated form, accompanied by his constant companion, the goddess of fortune, who is eternally beautiful. Hare Krishna.
So now here, Your grandson, O Diti, will be able to see inside and outside the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And who is that Supreme Personality of Godhead? Whose wife is Sri Lalana Lalam Drishtva. He will be see the Supreme Lord, whose wife is beautiful goddess of fortune, Sri Lalana. And here, Prabhupada writes here, his face, the Supreme Lord, whose face is always decorated with the beautiful earrings. Spurata Kundala Manditananam. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Prahlāda is being predicted to see the Supreme Lord not only from within, but also from outside. Bahir Narsimha, Hridaye Narsimha. Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye. So this is Prahlāda Mahārāja. So otherwise, a devotee can see the form of the Lord within his heart, but very few can see the direct personality of Godhead outside with his material eyes, Prabhupada says. The Lord has many incarnations. Rama Adimurti Shukala Niyamena Tishtam. Rama Adimurti. Krishna has expanded as Balaram, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, Narayan, Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, Vamana. So many incarnations. And a devotee becomes specifically attached to one of the eternal forms of the Lord. Like we see Murari Gupta, very, very attached to Sri Ram Murti. Or we see here Prahlāda Mahārāja, very attached to Narasimha Dev. So these are eternal forms of the Lord. These are not imagination. They always exist and they descend down. So Prabhupada says, a devotee does not imagine something whimsical about the form of the Lord. No. This form of the Lord, they are ever existing and they descend as per the need and as per the prayer of the devotee of the Lord. Non-devotees, they cannot understand this. Non-devotees think that this is simply an imagination and one can imagine any form of the Lord. But devotee can see the Lord not only from within, but can see without and outside. And by mercy of Srila Prabhupada and our Parampara, we can see so many forms of the Lord. In the Archa Vigraha incarnations, the beautiful forms, Sri Sri Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Kunja Vihari, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Sri Ram Lakshman Sita, Hanumanji. So many beautiful forms of the Lord we can see. So these are also non-different than the personality of Godhead. Text 51. Maitreya Uvacha Shrutva Bhagavatam Pautram Amodat Diti Brisham Putrayoscha Vadham Krishna Viditva Sit Mahamana. Translation.
The sage Maitreya said, hearing that her grandson would be a great devotee and that her sons would be killed by Krishna, Diti was highly pleased in mind. Purport: Diti was very aggrieved to learn that because of her untimely pregnancy, her sons would be demons and would fight with the Lord. But when she heard that her grandson would be a great devotee and that her two sons would be killed by the Lord, she was very satisfied. As the wife of a great sage and the daughter of a great Prajapati, Dakṣa, she knew that being killed by the personality of Godhead is a great fortune. Since the Lord is absolute, his acts of violence and non-violence are both on the absolute platform. There is no difference in such acts of the Lord. Mundane violence and non-violence have nothing to do with the Lord's act. A demon killed by him attains the same result as one who attains liberation after many, many births of penance and austerity. The word brasam is significant herein because it indicates that Diti was pleased beyond her expectations. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the third canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. Hare Krishna.
After hearing this, Maitreya Uvacha, Shrutva Bhagavatam Pautram, that her great grandson would be a great Mahabhagavat devotee of the Lord. And Putrayo Vadha Krishna, but the sons will be killed by the Supreme Lord. Diti was very pleased in mind. So both things pleased her. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, Diti was initially very, very aggrieved because of her untimely pregnancy, and the sons born will be deadly demons, and they would fight with the Lord. So this aggrieved Diti a lot. And at the same time, she was very pleased to know when she heard that the grandson will be a great devotee and Prahlāda. Diti herself, she had a great parentage. She was the daughter of great Prajapati Dakṣa. She was wife of great sage Maitreya Muni. And she perfectly knew that when somebody is killed by the Supreme Lord, he will attain the same result as if a yogi will attain the result of lifetimes of yoga. Right? So, because Prabhupada says here, the acts of the Supreme Lord are absolute, and his killing and his benediction are on the same level. There is no difference. And when this was heard, the word Prabhupada says used is Brisham, means Diti was pleased beyond expectations that such a thing is going to happen. She was very happy that her sons will be killed by the Supreme Lord, and she was very happy to know that the grandson will be Prahlāda Mahārāja, great devotee of the Supreme Lord. So this is how we conclude the 14th chapter of 3rd Canto, Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. So amongst various topics, Bhagavatam is also touching this topic, the time of the pregnancy and the effect of that time of the pregnancy. One can look the expanse of the Bhagavatam, that later within a couple of cantos we are going to discuss the universal, the universe in terms of Srimad Bhagavatam. And here we are discussing the way the Diti's mistake and the effect of that mistake. So yeah, any question, any comment, any discussion?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, on the first day, when you mentioned that there are 8 sections, unfortunately, your voice was cracking and it is not recorded properly also. So is it possible for you to repeat or maybe put it on the group, Prabhuji?
Yeah. So this 14th chapter has 8 sections. Text 1 to 4, this is Vidura's inquiry about Nila Varaha. Now, there is a slight confusion about, we will come to this Varaha pastimes. So we will see more about that also. Then the second section is text 5 to 7. This is Maitreya congratulates Vidura for very good inquiries. So 1 to 4, 5 to 7. 8 to 15, Diti approaches Kaśyapa for union at a wrong time. 16 to 21, Kaśyapa glorifies his wife. All those, that wife is the better half. That verse and other verses will be coming there, 16 to 21. Fifth section is Kaśyapa's reasons for postponing the union, where he is describing how there is Lord Shiva who is moving around. Then 30 to 36, there is union and Diti's repentance. Section 7, 37 to 43, Kaśyapa's predictions and Diti's request that let these sons who are born as demons, let them be killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not some by any powerful Brahmana, because they will be doing great atrocities to the Vaishnavas as a class. And finally, 44 to 51, Kaśyapa speaks about Diti's grandson, Prahlāda Mahārāja. So just like before the sunrise, before the sun is actually going to rise, you will see the twilight. Similarly, before the son of Prahlāda Mahārāja rising, there is glorification of Prahlāda begins here. Right? Entire canto later, 7th canto, is dedicated to one devotee, Prahlāda. One incarnation, full scale, appears for one devotee. Narasimhadev just came to save Prahlāda. Nobody else. I mean, that is the reason, just save Prahlāda. So Prahlāda Mahārāja is the one of the topmost devotee, greatest of the great, in words of Srimad Bhagavatam. So there is glorification of Prahlāda here in 44 to 51. Now the Varaha Dev, there are 2 Varaha incarnations. One is Nila Varaha, another is Shveta Varaha, also called as Shveta or Nila, and another is Rakta Varaha. The pastimes that we are going to see, now what we are going to see, we are going to see the description of God. That is chapter 15, and it's a quite elaborate chapter. Srila Prabhupada is going to write amazing purport, very beautiful purports. And then there is a description of how there are munis going to approach this. What is the cause of Hiraṇyākṣa and Hiraṇyakashipu? So Jaya and Vijay being cursed. And then there is, that is the next chapter, chapter 16. And later we'll see the pastime of, the Varaha and Hiraṇyākṣa fight. So this is one Varaha that which we are aware of. Bhagavatam here describes about another Varaha, and that is where Vidura asks about Hiraṇyākṣa pastime, and this entire story has picked up that Diti and Kaśyapa and everything. So previously, the first Varaha appeared when at the end of Brahma's night. So what happens is, when Brahma's night begins, Brahmaji goes to sleep, and all the planetary systems, except the top 3 planets, Jana, Tapa, and Satya, all of them, they are again submerged in the Garbhodak ocean, because there is a pralaya, partial pralaya. And then all the planetary systems. So when we say planetary systems, it is not just one planet that we think of. They are again submerged in the... So that particular day, what happened is, generally they are supposed to come up, but that time they did not come up. And then Brahmaji and all other sages were wondering, our day, Brahmaji's day has already started, but still these planets have not come up. There are some sages who outlive Brahmaji's day and night also. Like there is a Lomasa Rishi, there is Markandeya Rishi, is supposed to be living for 6. Markandeya Rishi is supposed to be living for the 6 kalpas. So kalpa is 1 day of Brahma, night included later. So 1 day, 1 night, and then second day, second night, third day, third night. And that is Markandeya Rishi, one who comes to meet Pandavas, and whom we'll be seeing in 12th Canto, Markandeya Rishi. So all the rishis, such great rishis, they were wondering, what will happen now? The Bhumandala is still down only. Bhumandala has not come up. Now, when we say Bhumandala, it is not just Earth planet. Okay, Earth is a very, very small part of Bharatkhanda, which is a very small part of Bharatvarsha, which is a very small part of Jambudvipa, which is a small part of Bhumandala. So when you see that, sometimes some Vedic mantras are being spoken, and they will say where the Yajaman is sitting, and they will say Bharatakande, Jambudvipe, Bharatakande, Bharatavarshe, Dakshin Tatabhyam, Godavari. This they will say about where exactly you are sitting from the universal perspective, where you are sitting. It's very, very scientific. It is not something hodgepodge, some words put together there. No. So when we say Earth was submerged, this is an oversimplification of understanding. And also when we show that, the Varahadev coming, and on the tusk there is Bhumandala, and when we show the globe, Earth globe generally we show. Okay, so that is a overly simplified understanding of the whole pastime, because you have to show something, right? Because you have to picturize what it is. So the entire Bhumandala was down, and this entire Bhumandala was picked up by Varahadev, and it was in the first pastime, it was placed on the water, and then later Brahmaji placed it in the right place. And then in the second pastime, Varahadev only placed the Bhumandala at its proper orbit in the Dharayami Ahamojasa, in that context. Okay. So Bhumandala doesn't refer only to Earth planet. So there are many, many Earth planets. The Vedic paradigm is completely different, right? That we are going to see in the 5th canto. So this is entire Bhumandala was sitting down at the bottom of the Garbhodak ocean, which was picked up by this Varahadev, Shweta Varaha, and put it on the surface of the Garbhodak water. And from there, later, Bhagavatam doesn't go in all those details, right? From there, later, Brahmaji picked up, and the things were arranged in its own course of time. So this is one Varahadev, and the second Varahadev is what we are going to see later in the pastime, as they will unfold in the 3rd and 4th canto later, conclude, as we move on. Right? Yeah. Any other point? So tomorrow we'll begin with chapter 15, description
Hare
of
Krishna,
kingdom. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, here it was mentioned that Nrsimhadev existed before they gave darshan to Prahlāda Mahārāja as Nrsimhadev, that form. Is it understanding correct?
Very, very correct. Narasimhadev existed before even Hiraṇyakaśipu asked the benediction that no, neither the man nor the animal should kill me. And then it is not that because neither the man nor the animal, Lord has unlimited incarnation. Bhagavatam says, Avataro hi asankhyanam. Asankhya means unlimited incarnations exist. We know only handful of incarnations. We know nothing actually. The spiritual life is so bewilderingly infinite. Like one bewildering thing you will know. Krishna has 300 billion gopis. Can you imagine? We cannot just imagine also. Right? Sorry. Later in Dwaraka pastime it will come that Ugrasen, the number of soldiers of Ugrasen, they will be like bewildering number. That how can one have so many number of teachers they were required to teach the children of Yadu dynasty? That number is also bewildering. Right? So Lord has unlimited forms and incarnations in the spiritual realm. And whenever certain demons becomes prominent and certain things he will ask and then one that particular avatar will come. Right. And sometimes the demon will ask something. So Laghu Bhagavatamrit, which is written by Rupa Goswami, he describes that how different avatars also come on different times in a different way. Like this time Narasimhadev came from the pillar. In the next incarnation, Narasimhadev is going to come sitting on Kaliya. Narasimhadev is going to come because now Kaliya has also become devotee. You have to engage Kaliya also in some seva. So Kaliya, he will sit on Kaliya and he will appear there in front of Hiraṇyakaśipu. That is being explained in this will happen in the next Chatush Divya Yuga, and when will be a pastime, something very, very similar to this pastime. Right. So yes, all these incarnations exist eternally now, and before the birth of Hiraṇyakaśipu also, Narasimhadev existed. But Narasimhadev appeared specifically, when this particular incarnate, with this particular conditions were put up, and then Narasimhadev came in this form. Right?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Anything else? So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.